But we're going to start with the college football playoff because, baby, that's on Monday, Sam. I can't believe we finally made it. Monday. First game, 3 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. We got the top ranked, undefeated Michigan Wolverines taking on the number 4 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Sammy boy, let's start with Michigan here. Like I said, they're undefeated. They have a 32nd ranked strength of schedule. They average 36.7 points per game. That's 14th in the nation. They allow 9.5 points per game. Guess what? That leads the nation. First in the nation in points per game allowed, 9.5. Senior running back Blake Corum ran all over. Another 1,000-yard season for him, and he led the nation with 24 rushing touchdowns. Senior wide receiver Roman Wilson led the Wolverines from a receiving perception. 662 yards and 11 touchdowns. That was top 10 in the nation. They also had 2 more guys that had over 560 receiving yards, sophomore tight end Colston Loveland and senior wide receiver Cornelius Johnson. 3 guys over 560 receiving yards. J.J. McCarthy, he's spreading it around. 74.2% completion percentage for J.J. this season. 2,630 yards, 19-4 touchdown to interception ratio. 3 more touchdowns on the ground. Sam, let's start this Michigan discussion with, can J.J. McCarthy lead an undefeated season for the Wolverines?
Yeah, this first one's a juicy one. Both games are juicy. Can't wait. So excited. Yeah, Michigan, definitely the most polarizing team in the bunch with the firing of the head coach and all that controversy. But you can't punish the kids. Like you gotta let the kids play. I definitely think they belong. They've had a really strong season. And the last couple of years, the Michigan Wolverines are no stranger to the college football playoffs.
Yep.
And it's for that reason that I think that they might be able to get it done. But man, that's a tall order against Alabama. You want to talk about no stranger to the college football playoffs? That's Alabama. I mean, since Nick Saban has been there in the early 2000s, their success, I mean, is unrivaled. I mean, you might mention Georgia, but it's seriously no one compares when you look at all their national championships. But this Michigan Wolverines team is exciting. Do I think JJ McArthur can get him there? Not by himself. I think with Michigan, it's very much the whole team's got to be firing on all cylinders. I don't think he's the kind of put the team on my back quarterback that's going to do it for them. But if they get big time contributions from all their stars as well as their defense, I do think it's possible. Yeah, they've been exciting all year. It's going to be a great game.
24 rushing touchdowns for Blake Corum this year. My goodness. I think we're going to be seeing him on Sundays. Let's talk about Alabama here. They have a 5th ranked strength of schedule, SEC. That's the big dog. They averaged almost 35 points per game. That was 18th in the nation. They gave up 18.5 points per game. That was 2nd in the SEC, 17th nationally. Quarterback, sophomore Jalen Milroe, sophomore. Let me say that again. 2,718 yards, 23-6 touchdown to interception ratio. Added 468 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns on the ground. Pretty solid season for Jalen. Alabama, they got 2 seniors in the backfield, Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams. They combined for over 1,350 yards and 11 rushing scores. The wideouts were led by senior Jermaine Burton. He had 777 yards and 8 touchdowns on 22.2 yards per reception. Big play threat there, Jermaine Burton. Let's also not sleep on sophomore Isaiah Bond. He had 621 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns himself. Sam, you bring up the history of Alabama in these playoffs, the college football playoff, first one in 2014. Alabama has the most appearances and the most wins. Give me what you got on Alabama, and then lead me into a game pick here.
There's a lot of different avenues you can go, like which player, which side of the ball, like what it will look like on game day for Alabama to take this one over Michigan. For me, I think when you get into meaningful football, whether that's college, professional, or Pop Warner, it's about the things that everybody knows about: offensive and defensive line, running the ball, and just a really strong defense. And so I think if we see a big game from that tandem of senior running backs, I think we'll see Alabama advancing to the national championship.
Ooh.
Senior leadership, and usually Alabama has one guy that does it for them. It's a little interesting that it's the tandem, but together, as you mentioned, 1,300, 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns, like that's impressive. Yeah, I think if the Crimson Tide can run on the Wolverines, I think that's how they get it done.
Is that what you're going to predict right now, that they can run on Michigan and Nick Saban moves on to another championship appearance?
So allow me to get into my game pick. Alabama is no stranger. I've said that.
Set me
But
up
in
here.
recent years, neither are the Wolverines. They can't get past that first game. I don't know if it's something in the air in Detroit, certainly not basketball. But how about those Detroit Lions? Finally
Hey,
getting over their
champions.
cursed ways of losing
30
year after
years.
year,
30 years.
clinched a playoff spot, won their division. I think that the Michigan Wolverines finally get past
Ah,
that first round and defeat the Alabama Crimson Tide in a very close, exciting, high octane game.
nice. I gotta agree that this is the game of the better game of the two games in the playoff here. I talked to my father-in-law, Rich Payton, before we got on here. Big Michigan fan. He bleeds blue. He bleeds blue. And definitely got to respect Nick Saban. Nick Saban usually has about a week to prepare for teams. You give him a whole month. Oh boy, that'd make me nervous. Giving Nick Saban a whole month to prepare for me. Um, I love the running game. I love the running game for Michigan. That offensive line is huge. The top ranked defense according to points per game allowed. Michigan. That says something to me. This is the team with the most adversity this year. It really seems like it could be a Cinderella story for Michigan. I got Michigan also taking
I,
down the one loss Crimson Tide Alabama. It's going to be a hell of a game. I'm not going to be surprised either way. If it's a blowout, yeah, I'll be surprised in a blowout. But either team wins, I won't be surprised.
as I was looking into things, trying to gather resources and just try and make the best decision. It's funny if you look at the lines for Vegas, because I think the betting favorite is Michigan, but the second like biggest odds are for Alabama to
Mm.
upset. So it's super interesting the way that's panning out.
Yeah, it seems like the odds makers are saying the winner of this game is going to win it all.